are listening to Therapy Plus, a mental health podcast.
The views and opinions expressed by the guest speaker on this episode are solely those of the guest. The content shared is intended for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional advice or endorsement.
What if the key to better mental health wasn't doing more, but learning how to tune in? Hi, I'm Lindsey Benoit O'Connell. I'm a meditation teacher, sound healer, breathwork facilitator, and the founder of the Lab Wellness and ElevateMindfully.com. Today, I am here to talk to you about two tools that have not only transformed my life, but the lives of so many people I've worked with: meditation and sound healing. They are my forms of therapy. Well, two of them. I have others. We're going to talk about what they really are beyond the buzzwords and why they're more than just wellness trends. We're going to talk about how these practices support the nervous system, mental clarity, and emotional healing, and the science that backs that up. And I'll share some of my own story and the shifts that I've witnessed in others that will stay with me forever. So let's start with meditation. At its core, meditation is the practice of bringing your attention to the present moment on purpose, without judgment. That could be through breath, a mantra, visualization, or simply observing your thoughts with a little more space. It's not about turning your brain off. It's about changing your relationship with your thoughts. Meditation trains the mind to respond rather than react. And that in itself is revolutionary when you're struggling with anxiety, depression, overwhelm, or burnout. Particularly for me, meditation helped me through not only burning out from my 20-year career in magazines before I became a meditation teacher, but also postpartum depression and panic attacks. Now, sound healing is often less understood, but equally powerful. Most people think about sound healing because they saw it on The Real Housewives. But it's really powerful, and in sound healing, we use instruments like crystal singing bowls and gongs, chimes, tuning forks, and a bunch of other things to create vibrational frequencies that interact with the brain and the body. There's science behind this. These aren't just beautiful sounds. They're frequencies that can shift our brain waves and restore balance to the nervous system. And I get a lot of skeptics. A lot of people say, my mind is too busy. I can't possibly sit down that long. This doesn't really work. And I laugh a little bit because then I go straight into the science. People say, well, does this actually work? And yes, it does. So let's start with meditation. Research shows that even just 8 weeks of regular mindfulness meditation can lead to measurable changes in the brain. A well-known Harvard study found that there is increased gray matter density in areas of the brain due to meditation that is linked to learning, memory, emotional regulation, and empathy. So meditation, I like to think of as the fountain of youth, right? When you meditate, you're growing the gray matter in your brain, and that is helping you focus. That is helping your memory, right? And it also decreases activity in the default mode network. That's the part of your brain responsible for mind wandering, rumination, which are major drivers of anxiety and depression. So by simply sitting quietly and following your breath, you are training your brain to be more focused, to be more creative, to reduce anxiety. So why wouldn't you do it, right? Now, sound healing. Studies from institutions like the University of California in San Diego have found that just 1 hour of sound meditation significantly reduces stress, anger, fatigue, depression. Participants reported feeling more relaxed and centered after a single session. I love sound healing personally because my mind is busy, and it really helps me to stay connected to that breath, to stay in what we call the present moment, which is just a fancy way of saying being in the room, recognizing your breath. Now, this is because sound healing directly supports the vagus nerve, a major part of the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest. And it helps the body shift out of that fight or flight mode and into that calm feeling where you don't feel like a bear is chasing you, and your body recognizes that it can relax and it is safe. So these tools help you feel safe in your body again. And when your body feels safe, the mind can finally let go. Meditation and sound healing are supportive for a range of mental health challenges, some of which I personally have, and I truly believe meditation has saved my life. When I had postpartum depression and anxiety, I had the really scary kind, and it was able to help me get out of that cycle of negative thinking. I would have episodes where I would feel completely out of my body. It was very scary, and I would be able to go into a meditation and breathe my way out of panic attacks. I got to the point where I would sense a panic attack coming, and I would go into this meditative state and breathe my way out without medication. And it was so impactful for me and my healing journey. So if you suffer from anxiety, these practices regulate breathing and calm in the nervous system. They reduce the physical symptoms of anxiety and help rewire these reactive thought loops. For depression, they cultivate self-awareness and self-compassion while decreasing these negative thought spirals. Now, this takes time, of course, but this tool, it's just your breath, and your breath can help you in those moments. Now, burnout, the World Health Organization declared it a national health epidemic. And so meditation helps replenish your mental focus. And sound baths provide a deep rest that feels almost like sleep, but more restorative. So we are going and going and going at a pace that sometimes feels completely crazy, right? We are doing more. We have more at our fingertips. And while our brains are quick and they can take all of this stuff coming in, we're holding this stress in our bodies, and we need to let it go. And that brings me to trauma. For those carrying trauma in the body, sound offers a nonverbal somatic way to release and regulate. It's gentle, but it's incredibly effective. So as I mentioned, my journey into this work didn't come from a yoga mat in Bali, although that sounds amazing. It came from having a panic attack in my early 20s when I didn't even know what a panic attack was. I was walking down the street, 18th Street in the city. 18th and Broadway was the corner. I still remember it. And I felt like my speech was slurring when I was on the phone with a friend, and my vision was going weird. Things were getting brighter. And I walked into this building to seek help because I thought something was seriously wrong with me. And it was so out of my control. And the ambulance came and they were like, this is normal, this happens. And I was like, what happens? And they said I had a panic attack, and I had no idea what that meant. And so I went to therapy, and my therapist said, you should meditate. I got to the point where I couldn't leave my house because when I walked out of my house, I would feel the panic coming back in, and I needed something to help me. And so through meditation and learning how to channel that stress and that deep feeling, among other things, I was able to come out of this. It took me a while to go back to 18th Street, but I was able to finally do that without having a panic attack. And as I mentioned, when I had postpartum depression, these feelings, that anxiety, that stress that would come back, this feeling in my heart, that racing heart, meditation helped calm that. And it also helped me sift through all of these thoughts, these lies that I was telling myself, these feelings of complete loss of control, self-loathing. I was working through that. And I was anxious, I was exhausted and disconnected from my body. But meditation truly was able to help me just feel less alone, even though it's something that you do alone. I felt more connected to myself so I could open up to others. And because of meditation and because of my journey, I knew that I needed to teach people to do this. If I could help one person the way that meditation helped me, then that should be my life's purpose. And What started as a way to survive became the foundation of a whole new life. I left magazine media and production, and I became certified in meditation, breathwork, and sound healing, and began sharing these tools with others. And now I teach people, and I lead corporate wellness programs, and I guide people through burnout, recovery, emotional healing, and I give people nervous system reset through sound. And what saved me became my life's mission to help others meditate. One of the most powerful moments I've ever witnessed was during a group sound bath, and a participant came up to me afterwards and said, that was the first time I truly felt calm and safe in years. That's not just healing, that's transformation. People come up after meditations and they're crying and they wonder why, and it's because they're releasing. They feel safe enough to release. It's a profound experience. It's hard to be quiet with your thoughts. And so emotions can come up, right? And so if you're curious about trying this, you don't need to do anything fancy. Meditation is amazing because all you need is yourself and your breath. There are amazing apps and places you can go for guided meditation. I teach on Unplug Meditation app and Insight Timer. I have a YouTube channel, but there's thousands of meditation teachers out there, so you can find the right one for you. And there's different forms of meditation. But if you want to start small. Just sit for 3 minutes, close your eyes, and follow your breath. And what that means is just noticing it. You inhale and you exhale. And you just listen to your breath, right? You open up your senses. You can place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly and notice the rise and fall of your chest and belly. And when your mind wanders, and it will, everybody's mind wanders. It's impossible not to, right? We think between 60 and 80,000 thoughts a day. So your mind's going to wander. But when it does, don't punish yourself for it. Know that that is part of the journey. It's going to wander. You're going to notice yourself thinking, recognize that you're thinking, be so excited, proud of yourself, and then just come back to your breath. So set a 3-minute timer or a 2-minute timer and just sit and notice your breath, right? And if that's really hard for you to just sit quietly, I like to introduce a mantra or an affirmation. Now, an affirmation that I like to use is very simple. It is, I am here. Because that can just bring you back to where you are. You can breathe in, I am, and exhale out, here. And just repeat that. And let it bring you to where you are in that moment. I love to recommend sound healing as a first start to meditation, because once you experience it and you know your body can feel that way, there's no turning back. But you can use sound intentionally. You can put on binaural beats or crystal bowl tracks on your headphones before bed if you can't make it to a class or you don't know where to find a class. And just notice how your body responds. You can play it in the background while you're cleaning your house, right? You can look it up on Spotify or Apple Music or wherever you listen. And you can find a local class or a virtual sound bath. If you're open to trying it in person, I recommend sound healing in person as the first choice because you actually feel it in your body, but you can get benefits just by listening to it as well. And there are a lot of free meditations, meetups, things like that that you can find in your community. And remember, you don't have to be good at it. You just have to show up. And one of the simplest things I like to tell my students is you can just wake up and you can decide how you want to feel that day. Think about how you want to feel and pick a word. So calm, gentle, powerful, whatever it is. And just notice your body and breathe in, I am, and exhale out calm or I am powerful. And have yourself begin your day with that affirmation. And then it helps you throughout your day. And you can do it for 30 seconds. That's meditating. Meditation and sound healing aren't about escaping your life. They're about meeting yourself where you are. These are tools to come home to yourself, to find calm in the chaos, and to rewire how you move through the world. They're not magic, they're medicine, and they're available to you right now. Thank you for listening. If this resonated with you, I hope you give yourself a moment today just to breathe. Even one breath is a step toward healing. And if you'd like to meditate with me, you can find me at thelab-wellness.com or thelab.wellness on Instagram, on YouTube at Elevate Mindfully, And also my editorial site, elevatemindfully.com, where experts and thought leaders share expertise on how to live a mindful life. There's meditations on there. And I really hope that you give meditation a try. I find meditation to be a form of therapy for myself, and it's really helped me through some very challenging experiences, but also it helps me to connect with myself each day. Thank you so much for listening.